The air in Sierra Pines was thinner at 7,000 feet, the kind of clean that smelled of pine needles, wood smoke, and possibilities. It was the kind of place people passed through on road trips to Yosemite, snapping pictures of log cabins and souvenir shops, never staying long enough to hear the quiet secrets the mountains whispered. But for Claire Hastings, Sierra Pines wasn't a pit stop. It was a return. A reset. After a devastating breakup and a burnout she couldn't even admit out loud, she left behind her San Diego apartment, her high-paying job in biotech, and moved into her late uncle's Firewatch tower for the summer. The tower stood above the canopy like a relic, wooden stairs, a rusted weather vane, and windows that looked out over what felt like the edge of the world. Claire hadn't expected to meet anyone out there, much less someone like Jacob. He was already there when she arrived, ranger boots, sun-bleached t-shirt, and arms inked with forest tattoos. He worked for the National Forest Service, and the moment she stepped out of her dusty Subaru, he raised a brow and smirked, "You're not exactly dressed for wildfire season." Claire, in her city sneakers and designer sunglasses, laughed nervously. "I'm more of a data girl than a dirt girl." "You'll learn," he said simply. And she did. Slowly. The days fell into rhythm, morning radio checks, trail monitoring, the occasional call about a campfire that needed extinguishing. Jacob taught her how to read smoke columns, how to cook pancakes on a propane stove, how to find Orion's belt in the night sky. He wasn't talkative, but when he did speak, it mattered. He listened like the world might end if he missed a single word. One afternoon, a thunderstorm rolled in faster than expected. Claire was scanning the valley through binoculars when she saw the first strike hit the ridge. "There," she shouted, heart pounding. Jacob was already moving. "Pack gear. We're going down." They drove through mud and rain, hiking the last mile to the source. A tree had exploded into fire, embers climbing fast. Claire watched Jacob work with calculated urgency, cutting a firebreak, radioing for backup. She helped as best she could, adrenaline making her brave. By the time reinforcements arrived, they were soaked, exhausted, and covered in soot. Later, sitting by the truck, Jacob handed her a flask of coffee. "Not bad for a data girl," he murmured. She smiled, teeth chattering. "You should see me in a PowerPoint meeting." The fire didn't grow beyond that one ridge, but something inside her did. It wasn't just admiration or gratitude. It was a sense of coming back to herself, of falling not for the rugged ranger, but for the way she felt when she was with him. Unfiltered. Awake. Their connection unfolded like the valley fog, slow, inevitable. They started sharing old songs on the radio. Swapping stories over burnt marshmallows. She told him about her ex who said she was too intense. He told her about his sister, who passed away in a fire and made him swear he'd never stop watching the flames. "Some things you don't move on from," he said, voice low, "you just carry them better." One night, the stars were too bright to ignore. Jacob led her to the fire tower roof with a blanket and a thermos. "You ever just lie back and let the sky tell you everything's gonna be okay?" he asked. Claire did that night. In his arms, the cold didn't bite. The silence wasn't heavy. They kissed like the mountains had waited their whole lives for it. But love, especially new love, is always tested. One morning, Claire got a call from a former colleague. Her old company wanted her back, with a promotion. Big salary. A leadership role. "It's everything you worked for," her friend said. "You've got 2 weeks to decide." She didn't tell Jacob right away. She just watched him from the tower, how he moved through the forest like he belonged to it, how his eyes softened when they met hers. How do you tell someone that your heart is finally steady, but your dreams might pull you away again? She finally told him during a hike to Echo Peak. "I got an offer," she said, sitting on the edge of a cliff that looked out over the entire valley. He nodded. "You going?" "I don't know." Jacob was quiet for a long time. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a matchbox. Inside was a pinecone charm on a string. "This is for you," he said. "Pinecones only open when they've survived fire." "That's you." Claire bit her lip. "What if I go?" "Then I'll root for you," he said. "That's what people who love each other do." She kissed him like a promise. The last 2 weeks felt like living in a bubble of now. They didn't talk about the city. They just lived. They kissed in the rain, danced in the watchtower, made love under constellations. And when the time came, he walked her to her car. No big goodbye. Just eyes that held everything. In San Diego, things were different. Meetings, reports, boardrooms. But her windowsill held the pinecone charm. Her phone background was a photo of the tower. And when the city lights overwhelmed her, she'd call him. They didn't always say much. But that was okay. Then one day, she woke up, stared at the skyline, and said out loud, "This isn't me anymore." She resigned. Sold her apartment. Drove 500 miles north. Jacob was in the watchtower, back turned, binoculars scanning the trees. When he turned around, his jaw slackened. "I brought my own pancakes this time," she said, holding up a cooler. He descended the stairs 2 at a time. When he kissed her, the forest swayed. They rebuilt the watchtower together, literally and figuratively. And every summer since, they welcomed young recruits, taught them about fire, stars, and how sometimes, getting lost is how you're found. And beneath the Firewatch sky, their love kept burning, steady, fierce, and unafraid. If this story lit a spark in your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Love. Sparkles, have you ever fallen in love in the unlikeliest of places? Share your story in the comments below. Evergreen Tree Fire.